G'day. Today we're doing a transmission service on a 2016 Nissan Qashqai 2 litre petrol. Now your OBD plug is under here and it's on there pretty hard, so you've got to give it a bit of a yank. There we go. And there we go. Got the OBD plug just there. Now to get the filler plug out, there's a little plastic lever in there and you push it on. And pull it out. Now you can see the little tang in there. What you're supposed to do, there's a special tool that comes up from underneath, presses it, and then you can just slide it out. But you can also manoeuvre it if you're able to with a screwdriver from the top. Push it away from that little square slot there. Now while it's up, it's a good idea to just check everything underneath, make sure all your bushings are okay, nothing out of whack. We whiz off this stone guard. It's only done about 60 odd thousand K, so it shouldn't be too bad. Now on these you've got a transmission drain plug there, and fill it, you saw at the top there on the filler tube, but this little bolt here is where you check the fluid level. There's a little tube in there, 19mm, and you push that plug up until you feel like a little click, and that'll be the end of the thread, and then you just quickly pull it out like that. And these CVTs, they have different length snorkels, so you want to make sure you've got the right one. So you can see the importance of actually taking the pan off and doing a service on these, not just doing an oil change. The idea is to clean these magnets. All that little fuzz that's on those magnets, if you don't clean it, can circulate through and become attracted to your solenoids and your sensors. Once these magnets become covered in that muck, then they don't attract anymore. So then it just circulates suspended in the oil and ends up where it shouldn't, in the transmission. Now over here on the right hand side of the transmission, there's this little cover, 4 little 10mm bolts, and there's a little filter cartridge in there. That's a filter on the cooling line. And there's a little cartridge there. Now on this particular one, this was actually, it came out of the filter and was stuck in the transmission housing. Just make sure you take that off or take it out before you put the new one in. Otherwise you'll have 2 seals there pressing on it and it may damage the cartridge when you put it in. A little bit of oil on there, and you just work it on until it goes on like that. There you go. Now we didn't have a seal, but this one looks nice and pliable and it's nicely raised. Don't forget to put that in there. It just sits into that little step there, like that. Make sure your cover's nice and clean. You haven't dinged any of this, make sure you don't damage it. Put all the bolts in and then just tighten it up. Don't forget the O-ring on the filter pickup. Bit of oil on it. The pan's all nice and clean. We're going to leave these magnets up on that little ridge a little bit. Just the idea is to get the surface area of both top and bottom of the magnet working. But we're going to also add a neodymium magnet. Before you put it on, make sure you test it just to make sure it's not in the way of anything before you bolt it up. And we will be using the Tritec Lubricants compatible CVT fluid, and they're compatible with the Nissan NS1, NS2, NS3 CVT fluids. You can use any compatible fluid, you don't have to always use the genuine stuff, but the choice is completely yours. And there we go. And that's on 39 degrees and it's just trickling out. And that was right on 5 litres. Now just bear in mind, on some of these CVT and DSG transmissions that have these inline filters in the cooling line, you need to actually warm the transmission up hotter than it normally runs. Sometimes you get an airlock in here. You want to purge all the air out, and then you've got to let the transmission fluid cool right down again within those ranges, 35 to 45 degrees on this particular one. And check the fluid level. Now just for a rough guide, if you're just checking the fluid level on these, we're on 46 degrees, and what you do is you push a dipstick down to the bottom, just touching, and it should be about between 55 and 60 mil from the hitting from the pan. But that's just a rough estimate. Ideally you want to check it from underneath. Just sometimes you like to check it without having to remove all that stone guard. Now before you put your stone guard back on, make sure you double check that you've tightened up the plugs, both the drain plug and the fluid level plug. Give all that oil a bit of a wipe out. That's how we do a transmission service and a fluid level check on a Nissan Qashqai, a JF016E transmission, also known as the RE0F10D. The other CVT transmissions, very similar procedure in doing a service on these as well. Anyway, I hope that's helped. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave any comments or suggestions in the section below. And don't forget to throw us a beer if any of this information helps. It does keep us motivated to make more videos. Sometimes a lot of this information is hard to find, so I hope anyone viewing will appreciate that. The link's in the description where you can throw us a few beers or milkshakes or coffees or whatever you prefer. Thank you for watching.